So for the Wilhelm Kuning Academy illustration, you have to do two things. The first one is the portfolio, like the general one, and then the second one is like the home assignment. Hi! So today I want to share a bit about my process of preparing the home assignment for Wilhelm Kuning Academy. So I applied for illustration in 2019, and I chose the home assignment called Visual Answers, which was answering 10 questions with an artwork. So this is like a sketchbook I use for the project, and the project you can see on one of my YouTube videos. So I will go through this sketchbook, and the process of making the home assignment is really important because on the admission day in the Wilhelm Kuning Academy, they asked me about like the process, and they really checked on like the sketches and the final work. So they were really interested in like the process, so that's why I am making this video to help you. And yeah, so the process is also important once you study in Wilhelm Kuning Academy because there is a thing called IA, Image Archive, and that takes 50% of your grade. So this is my home assignment project, which I made in 2019, and it took about 70 to 100 hours, so I spent about a month on it, but I don't think you have to take that long. You could even finish it in a week or 2 weeks. And I decided to make this house for the home assignment because I wanted to make something 3D, not 2D art, because all the works I have done before was like 2D drawing or painting, and I heard that there should be diversity in your artworks, in your portfolio, so I thought it'd be cool to make a 3D artwork. I decided to fill in a miniature house with the answers, so each room would be like an answer to a question. So I just went through all the questions and tried to like answer them each. So this took a lot of introspection, like thinking about myself. And I looked back on my short history of life and like how each question corresponded with me. And I tried to make it really personal because it's like about me and it's about showing myself to the school, what kind of person and artist I am. So I also tried to make these sketches really visual and artistic so that it's like good to see. I couldn't really bring this to the admission day because I went there by plane and this was too big to carry, so I just took photos and made a presentation slide of it. But I saw that other students actually like brought their works even though they were big. So before deciding on a 3D artwork, I had several ideas, and the first one was to make a big canvas painting that includes like the answers of the 10 questions as factors in the painting. I also had an idea of making 10 bottles, so like filling in and decorating a bottle as like an answer to the question. And I also really considered this idea, which was making a stop motion animation. So I would be like walking down the road and I would be answering the questions by transforming. And yeah, making a house was my fifth idea, and it was like making a me world, so just showing my world in a visual form. Yeah, so these are like brainstorming for the bottles idea, so I did have some ideas for some questions. And I also had an idea of making a photo book, like a magazine that I could answer in some series of photos of like these random things. Yeah, making a board game was another idea because I heard that people make a lot of board games for illustration portfolios. So first I really got into the idea of making a stop motion animation, and I had these research and ideas, and I even made like a storyboard for it. But I decided to make a me world, which is a 3D art, because it felt like this was more in control because I haven't really made a professional stop motion animation before, and I had no idea like how long it would take to make a stop motion animation, so I would just go with this. The project was really based on my identity, and I wanted to know the concept behind identity, so I did some research on psychology. I also made some sketches for the elements that would go in the house. Because it's a house, I wanted to put some furnitures and like just some factors that can show that it's a house. And I did some research on so this was my answer for what I will look like when I grow up. And these were some things that I wanted to have. And I thought these Russian dolls could really show the process of growing. So I decided to put them in a room. From the small one, I would show each stages of my life. So the seed is when I was a baby, and this one was when I was young, and this one would be like a cactus, so it's like when I was going through puberty, and this one is like youth, so it's a flower. So it looks really plain outside, but inside there's a lot of treasures. What part of you do other people like the best? I asked some of my closest friends, and I ended up choosing the idea that it's comfortable to be with me, so I thought of a sofa and like this cloudy thing. What inspires you the most? There were many things like movies, other artworks, and other things, but I usually get ideas from what I learn at school, like psychology or biology or just anything. So I wanted to show that when I learn something, it comes into my mind and it changes into art. So at the top, I put the materials I studied, and then in the bottom, I would put abstract, colorful images. And what can art or design do? I thought art really has the power to influence the society with its visual power, like this quote. And I decided to combine these factors. So it's roller coaster, flowers, speaker, and like a bomb. So I thought they represent like the creativity of art and design. So I decided to combine them to make these. I thought art is like this trumpet or megaphone or like flower that spreads out its message. This is a sketch for being a biologist. This is the sketch for the phone room. So phone was the first thing I touched in the morning. And what is the meaning of life? Mine is really based on faith, so I decided to put the factors of salt and light. So I decided to put them on the roof, and I decided to make the roof as like a white paper because I think life is a paper and we are drawing as we go on. So the colored parts are where I have walked, and there's a cloudy white road ahead of me. And this is the sketch for the house plan. I also included some photos of the process. So this is how I made it. I made it with clay and then I colored it with acrylic paint. So thank you for watching. I hope this helped, and you can ask any questions in the comment below, or you can DM me on Instagram. And I'm planning to make more videos on the art projects I did in art school, so subscribe for more information.